of them. Nema we the citizens no bit me demand from the political class. Ama enquire said there be no the amount for pen or the question is yanso na epe. And if we can be very real in our conversation, I think the number of issues are coswa and you bet me have that conversation. One so no whatever you think be and I think you can join the conversation or send the test that I'll try and read it under the comment section. So your questions, so I will try our best and see if we can attempt and see how I understanding, because I am with a firm belief we can fix this country and make it better. I have that conviction, and I'm sure many of you I give you up. There are a lot of people who call you from outside Ghana and they tell you, say, Charlie, baby, and you guys are wasting your time because Ghana, there is nowhere near my bay. So the question is, if everybody, you throw your arms in desperation, you give you up at the end of the day, though, we have no chance of ever fixing this country. So it's the reason why I always say, we cannot give up. We cannot throw our hands up in desperation and say, baby, a name there is nowhere Ghana ever yet. I dare draw inspiration, a bit me draw inspiration from a history. And Debbie Abakacho said history has taught us countries who say ne omo edia people struggle to get visa to travel out there. No, if you go there in the UK 1688 there was a massive revolution, and then that's the UK politics for good. French is it 1789 the French Revolution and whole lot. And you see if you go to Nema ACC you could see clearly almost they started from somewhere at some point in time. You are aware King Charles I was killed because of the tension between the British monarch and the Parliament. A reformer that brought Commonwealth to be in a lot of reforms across what the administrative role of a minor Kasa Ekodi Parliament and UK etime establishing a democracy or more number be or more and so you see the end win. I think I'm far worse that is why I always when I'm talking about conversation me draw into the discussion France. So France at be a clearly choice we can also bet me a but we don't know where we are starting from. That is the point, and it doesn't seem we are ready. And always, you see, it's very easy when you can find people and blame them. For once, we need to take responsibility and say, yes, I am part of this mess. So we can find a common grounds and fix the problem. Because if we continue to apportion blame, we can't start from anywhere. So we, the young people, now think that we have a chance to activate a new conversation, and that particular conversation will gear towards building the future that we want. And I think that conversation must include everyone. Don't sit out and say medium in politics. Or politics will be better the Abasha and I know the day policies and whatever that comes up on it bit me a year. There are a lot of inspiration a bit me a draw. Always I tell you about the Chinese story where they started from, why China became poor, and upon realizing they have the immense potential, both your friends saying human resource and tech way of making a leverage, and then 20 years after you see where China is today. And Nema on my way no more use the ye there no money half Nema ye chroma say no. These countries they don't even have half. But yet me ye. And I'm sure we can, because if you look at countries like Italy, or mine like France, or mine like there is natural resources. Wait me, I speak it to facts. These countries can boast of the Kakranum one, do not promise for Africa. But look at where they've been able to position their country, position their people, and as for because my invested in human capital, human beings. You fancy those things. If you look at our educational system, it's pathetic. People come out of the university and on their own they can't do anything. It's just chew, poor, pass, get certificate. At the end of the day, certificate and you begin to wonder if the person is ever educated. That is a system. nipa no so wako school wa wie kura certificate ahodo no say or kasa in public. Sometimes you begin to wonder if that person, that mind has ever been educated, unless if you call them find a certificate at the bachelor and send out to no dance here. But education is such that you don't need certificate to prove to people who be one. You need to convince people with, and somehow can say indeed you are educated. And yes, no innovation and nobody is coming up with anything new. But maybe we are saying, say 1 year education, a year towards I will bring something new to the table. Especially with the technology, course you can take advantage. Nasi ya best say the amount for aye na you be chiwa po na ya tro ho na ya paper. At the end of the day, no, we will get nowhere. At the end of the day, you end up producing noise makers who add no value to the growth of our country. And it's the reason why in recent times, so-called political space, you hear a lot of noise, but really, I would say, dear Bayan Kasana, yeah, substantially to turn the tables around nothing, because your educational system at the religious front, where we are supposed to build morality, a man for being very honest, are translating into the fabrics of our society. So wherever we find ourselves, no, you no credit, papa no, and your churches in a religious realm, no, are miracle centers, in century, yeah, and you don't seem say the core aspect of it, educating a man for to be very honest, to see humanity as we are able to me, I good to one another, and so money in the hobium. So you see, sir, we are sitting on a powder keg. We are sitting on a time bomb as people, and I'm sure, say, we can take our destiny into our own hands and say, sir, enough of the nonsense that has happened in the past. This is the time for us to, as people, to realize young individual potential and how we're able to leverage to turn the situation around. Because my culture say we are very fortunate, very, very, very fortunate in our part of the world. So when it comes to human resource, we have it in abundance. So the only thing I had a fine mind there, able realize the essence of this potential, and yet me leverage to turn things around. Say by a powerhouse, because Ghana, yet to 2 years we can turn the tables around. Africa has a model. Now see it me that model, and I'm sure say it will inspire several African countries to also do things, because Sanema way a seer and ya one kwana bushfire effect. Development and also economic advances in economic development, and also bushfire effect. So and there's over Asia, look at the countries, and America is significantly investing in Vietnam, and Vietnam economy is coming up, and you know, say these people realize their own potential as a country that is coming from the ashes of war, and Ghana timifa over $200 million Vietnam kofa more. They're exporting furniture. These are Nema we will not struggle to do. And I had a conversation on one of the radio stations, our Hoto FM, Nana make catch us say, you see, we take young people for granted. To the average Ghanaian politician, the free say young people are tools, instruments I be used to capture political power. So young people no who here so be used to capture power, or capture power no we also name for so be. Nipa onim nyansa no sanetie, but nipa onim nyansa will realize the potential, the immense and the untapped potential na ewo young people mono obise sound I don't know. Okay, I think it's better now. The talent ewo young people mono na ye hu kwan ebetimi ebefa so ye be leverage to turn the tables around, because and there obi using the numbers for economic your friends and turn around. The last time I told you about Indonesia, you can read about Indonesia, the rate at which or might not pick it up, the reforms are more introduced were in there. People are targeting Indonesia to be the new China that is emerging. It is coming at a lightning speed. Measures in the long term, no. These are some of the things I hear. But on my team, no, you need vision, you need plan, you need baby a year call. Even short term, I'm not sure see maybe a call. You need policy plan be that where in the next 10-20 years, no, you take it off from here. Young people, no, a dear ben a year to ensure at least a bit me create a certain your friends say enterprise, a bit me a sustainable amount for bit me and namudia yuma. So people come out of the university, they expected government to create job for them, but besides school, no, they are equipping people with the requisite skill set or coming out of the university. Now the person can become, betimi aye bibi, and there are banks available to support people to start up. Because in America, a lot of the young people are coming out from university, nipa no any project, very often we combine it. Now there are banks out there with me access capital to start something. Whenever I also na bedroom baby about William Crabeshaw started companies like Amazon. This guy started your friend saying Netflix, and then I said for sure how he started after school. Your friend saying Hastings Reed. Quite of us all started, and then as for now you start from somewhere. Coming out of school, you have the idea, but unfortunately, no. In that part of the world, you don't come out of school with any idea, because there is even a gap between academia and the job market, and being able to bridge this particular your friends distance in them. We are not ready. So those who are able to come out of the university, transiting into the job market, is a major problem. And over the years, I can't advocating the need to bridge this particular long gap between academia and the job market. So people from university can easily integrate themselves into the job market. Now, among struggle, now something will happen. Until say, yes, I near my way, trust me, we won't go anywhere. So I think this is just an introduction to our conversation today, and I'm sure maybe I will be just try and share. Sebaya Obinso Ebenya Bia share, because we're going to have a talk conversation, and then has to do with youth. Your friends saying, "Kwanya man for ever faswa ebet me turn the stakes around," because say young people enya adwuma it will change everything. It will change everything. And I said something and I nipa bebre entiase about say aban beka say, oh yeah, introduce policy ya befa a lot of nurses, ya befa doctors, ya befa teachers then as for them. But you see, so what can I say? Now we a very deep research. Countries are more advanced and other places, you come to the realization say enuma binum to say teaching, hospital job like nurses, doctors, and the police, military, and other security agencies, we are government now fast for even 1 million people. They cannot help you to grow an economy, because you use police and nurses and for grow economy. They play a very crucial role, very important role. But work no more in economic sense, and they offer third-party services. That third-party services no more for the from the workforce. Yes, you can argue nurses, doctors, and police for no or more they are part of this workforce. But workforce na can say nipa no more driver, the industrial driver or mine no ehia ebetimi amane na ye adwuma. Enti teacher ni the classroom chire nkrade equipping them with knowledge, the skills are here sabe ya obenya nimde na oba abontia. So that person and teacher in the training a workforce as a onya industry because obey adwuma. The same person the sense of security has to be provided. So the police, the military will provide that for the workforce. It is the job of the security nurses and nurses. So you see directly, because hospitals I've been at the hospital. Yeah, then now one for the ban and yeah, what charging or you charge it. And yes, I can do one hospital at a private show on some of my prapra. Where can I know you can pay. Government subsidize it. So we don't run hospitals for profit, except the private enterprises. And no crime amount for a complaining you. Hospital are young running for profit, no crime amount for a complaint. So you can imagine say a buying decides to run full scale for profit. Then say and easy sir. So Ninja workforce, Juma, but your kruma. And I'm saying we've not been able to set up industries. That industries no betimi aboa amayetimi enya neema export wa kwa bonten na akate down your import ye dey bo my monu nti ado de no you don't find a workforce. You don't find them. Who are those into agriculture at a larger scale? No one. Who are those into yourself in this industrial way, your factory, you produce neema ewa. The last time I told you about say your pad. We are moka and mabeto. It's a fact. tea, tomato, rice. You see, these are industries that was set up. I know the day you are very sure. Say, even if you employ people, we be called adwuma nopa, we be called adwuma ewia, we be called adwuma anadwo. Now, say if these industries are not in play, now confirm the panel say onkoye adwuma 24 hours. Because say dey na okwakoye. Call police now or patrol night. You know, he's supposed to protect somebody, and that person is that workforce. Now make one say no. Nurses provide healthcare to high workforce and make. So you must always have people working around the clock all the time. That is what you do. Until say you be create, you be feel it. So there is a gap. Yeah, no, and I'm say you need that workforce in internet, police, nurses, anyway, no. They are rather the workforce. They are rather the workforce. Instead of my third party services, you know, and then the workforce for us because we don't have people working in industries, we don't have people working in factories, we don't have people in agricultural sector. So these people directly know about the workforce and you can't rely on them to grow economy because services is good. I'm not downplaying and say very, very because I'm part of it. Very, very, very essential. That's why you regard the service as essential services. But in an economic sense, where you expect to say, "Well, economy are tough from," said the Akufo-Addo, I run there, my buffer you say you rising one. You need to do something very substantial. And the China example has always been a there. Because it's a baby, or my combined technology, transportation, and then your friend saying industry. And then the game changer transforming China maybe a win because then so person will advance road network I bet me facilitating movement across until your has your friends saying trainer are very fast and will be betting by 31 hour time now or no offer. You could see clearly in an economic sense and quite fast a bit provoking economic activities but transportation system a major setback e wo kroma say enti nipa na wabo kakra na o produce ade kra wo village no obenya car obe transport do adu akra no na bode na ode ba na half abere wo kwam asai just or to go enti no you see we need to start from somewhere. Look at our infrastructure, how I bet me rehabilitated this infrastructure that should be part of the plan. That's why that particular plan we are. My culture say we start somewhere. You will need to till the land. Till the land, you know, you pin it to industrialization. So I never in some way a can boom. Now on the other part, yeah, the technology a support here. You see, say things will begin to turn around. But unfortunately, no. So we see a conversation now. You don't actually see anyway be some of these things you consider sabe a bit me and the goals always has been short term no so you will not grow because and the countries are seeking say omu page or mining in every him to a certain level and to do that you need to put premium on human resources at war. And that is exactly what we are not doing. It's the reason why I always conflict are very constant in Africa. And there maybe I want here or South Sudan and several other African countries they are not here. And you see, you to not grow frustrated, and there is a new wave of violent revolution that is started in Africa. And upon me on Facebook is every revolution has a way of birthing its own forces. It through why a Benyan the soldiers lead that revolution. So you can't stop it. Until all we have to do is to do things right. But we are not considering those things. But there is a danger because I didn't start with Kenya some traces of it. Nigeria. And it is all because of youth unemployment, because the people leading this, the Gen Z generation, we have the energy, we are exposed to technology. Why can't we get something to do? And the only avenue obetimi dia ye ne say obafa bag na wa free woman say wutu kwan to go see greener pasture. But how many people are willing to do that? So we need to make sure say we zoom into Nema ACC no na eboyen na ye take decisions betimi aboyen to turn things around here. Because ebeba we just then you can't stop it. Because I started with Kenya, you've seen other African countries or Mashasi and Nema president who said Nema na ajinsamu Kenya no. Then he called on the people, said now he's ready to listen to the people. Nigeria the fair share, and very soon you will see a bit of it our Africa. My culture said when you're dealing with young population, fortunately for us in Africa, the largest, about 60% of African population, relatively youth. Energy, so we capitalize it on this, on tap, or infinite human resource in the way you'll be able to bring a lot of things to bear, but we are not ready. Things that politics, leadership, governance, is for the aged. It will be a young person crying something is going wrong. They tag you with asukonoma there. But this era, you should know that near man because politics as it used to be 20 years ago, is different from politics today because near be brass. So we a leader, you must always avail your mind to the prevailing circumstances in the situation, Not wa appeal game, and yes, and so na airban, a befow. I declare fabinum and a guso a befabinum. That is what you need to understand. Because frustration you grow, no. You see, when the young people have nothing to lose, or no worry, or no neighbor, or near Juma, trust me. What finally lose no. They have nothing to lose. When you're dealing with such a generation, you have to be very, 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 very careful. Very, very, very careful. Because at that level, that person is in a constant warfare with himself and the immediate society. Nothing else. And say, they will go all way out to do everything just to survive. And it's a back click on mind that when it started in your friend is saying, a day later, be known as the Jasmine Revolution. Do not friend the Arab Spring, That is how it started. In Tunisia, you saw how Ben Ali and then the Busia at on mine so. Since 1987, now you're moving no more. Ben Ali at Tunisia so since 1987. At Kumiano sword in some moon and the year and the man and the year Busia for. As a sound miner Japadian the year the one day a young man rose up and said, enough of this. Come on. He set himself ablaze. And you know what happened? That then happened on the 17th of December 2010. A month after, on the 14th of January 2011, now Ben Ali, a Janet is a crumb for. Just a month. Just a month. Because the youth were very eager. There civil unrest, positive defiance, and as for no more, violent revolution. Said the later no, they started peaceful, demanding say the economic the conditions of the land. So pathetic. Said the government then needed to do something because Betty is a president here in Paris. Bagia Sabi Obi. Ebetimi feedi sika na odebeto one bag obesan no etimi feedi the whole village, but they didn't care. They were so insensitive to the plight of the people. So when the people rose up, Ben Ali sesa na yire ne madwane ye. It didn't end there. A month after, Hosni Mubarak in Egypt, the guy had been in power for almost 30 good years. At the Tahrir Square, your friend is saying, Cairo, you saw the demonstration. The people were saying, they said, Ben Ali Kwadia, then you too, you need to go. Young people, well, at the place, protesting day and night. And that was the biggest protest that was Egypt. God, president, no a despot, untibin kanasem. But the people insisted, say, either you go or we ban this country. In the end, Hosni Mubarak had to resign after being in power for almost 30 good years. Make no mistake. A man for say, your friend is saying Libya, NATO ne America for the Kutu Gaddafi and for. Yes, it's there are traces of it, but the raw deal, they say, it was part of a revolution that was happening in North Africa. The white, they only took advantage of it because look at the same year. Me say started on the 17th of December 2010. 1 month after, on 14th January, na Ben Ali ko a month after, na Hosni Mubarak ko the same year, no, on the 20th of October 2011, and I kun your friend is saying Gaddafi. The same year, and I kun Gaddafi. The same year, and I kun Gaddafi. So it was a part of a massive revolution na ekoso. That revolution, you know, lead to your friend saying that particular way na Gaddafi suffer, you know. So nema na isi ma Gaddafi ahokokan, you know. It was part of that Jasmine revolution, the Arab Spring and ekoso, because now it was sweeping around the whole of the North Africa to the extent that catch us extended ya to the Middle East. Oko Bahrain. Your friend saying President na Odiso, and your friend saying Bashar Assad na for Obianya and share, and after Martin winning group a part of we are a see and Ninina say we need to set up and realize that the potential in young people and how a bit to me at creating certain incentive beer, non for bit me take a year juma, and it's something we can do. It's not as if say we cannot do. Just say people see young people here as tools, as instrumental, you use it to capture political power. And poverty in Africa, my culture say a deliberate, a ploy, because you see, I quite a window BTFA, and you think there's a nipani ya omu. People have that sick mentality. So you say, oh yeah, no, dinner one unrespecting me. So you do everything to keep that person poor. Say nipano me man kwana oh yeah, I say your friend saying obia to kwana ni nua no mofie obefano kwa ya ba hwan e be ne boga na say hwan e be somobi hwan e be hohoro bi ka. So that is the mentality ayo, but we forget say yetimi boana e unleash obia potential na say obia di ya. Society will find peace and obi na obi, and things will move well. That is the African concept. And you know, so here all over Africa, the blueprint is the same. Keep the people poor, tame young people, because say more rising and they attain economic freedom and economic independence. They will rise against us. They will listen to us. So they do everything to ensure say they keep us poor. But you see, so we do baby now to anywhere what is happening elsewhere. You could see clearly growth now abandoning because they've made it in such a way, say a liberal system. They will pay on Sabakan because the idea of my economy growing is when people have money and they are exchanging. The whole essence of economics, you know, you have cash, you are buying, people are exchanging, transaction is happening all the time, expanding the economy. And that is what for some of the capitalist countries are. That is what they do. Ensure that the private space, you know, Sika will be there and people will be able to buy what they want. And for you to do that, you need to work. The last time I catch said in America, how many people know or America or so Ghana, maybe 3 months. Over the 3 months are better. You can do that. Very often, averagely, people come will be about 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months at most. Because the economy is a debt-driven economy. What's the why with the car? Either you are paying mortgages, or pay car, and also will pay way, or house expenses every month. It will come. So constantly, you must be at work. We hear you want to ensure that you are able to pay for those things. So these are strategies that these countries are adopted to ensure that the very moment you come to the country, so a better incentive, certain incentive, be a motivation that you need to find something to do. By it's a different ball game altogether. There is no plan, so be kwa juma. A human no kwa kunyana wahe. apart from few ones abo aban before be teacher ni aban before be nurse aban before be doctor and aban before be security in na forum and no crowd na look at the way a man enlist people into a security agencies a crack it or we secondary school or peso jako I just would be a bribe and sana yafano. This is somebody going to the army abra elsewhere who could sign it up. They even give you bonus. There are people, those of you who have been in some of the armies who sign it up, they give you bonus by Hano, because what devote to life so be serve mind, because coming so be serve mind it can cost you your life. It's a big decision to make. By Hano, out of desperation, people who are pushing themselves into army now Kasakra already know or no, he doesn't want to be an army man or anyway, but situation in Amanabasa. And these people are being asked to pay bribe before Obeko police, before Obeko the military, before Obeko way. And when they get into it, life for a woman crown is something different. So Nipano could know who the woman now. Then a honor man for self plans. Quite it me a unorthodox way of making money. So that is why you see extortion all over. Police in Indonesia will be a said also. If you are there, yeah, contraband will cry now. And he's thinking about how it will because the system, no, how our office system is here, no, yes, I net here. And when yes, I and Chaconessa, ultimately taking care of Nabusia for. Because if you go to the police barracks, now have be a police for police in our warren and a year and then the at a single room. At a single room more. And it's the same for the military guys. Obi a watu no ho si say on the because police no despite in some amamfo kan nyina it's a very dangerous work because you can die anytime or step out. So people are making these sacrifices, you know, they must be compensated. But you see, we don't care about those people. Those are the corridors of power and things they're being in power, no, I don't know. And your leadership or ahini bi na waba be do so, and you know that person must leave. But that is not leadership. And that is the common thing as and you realize say no, we have to call the shot. Because my culture say we need to wait for a particular government to come to turn things around that. You are mistaken. And that particular way now may not even become a reality anytime soon, maybe in the future. But we can still insist and demand say those we have, those in power, no, we force them to do the right thing. And that is what we need to do. And I was having a conversation with somebody at UK. So in the past, from 2014 till date, another Conservative Party, a rule, your friend is saying, UK, no. How many prime ministers no master Salmo? You can check. How many prime ministers? Yeah, instead of say 12 buses or how many will resign away, but because the people, no, I say, and I'm sure when you mess up, they will not even have to react on your own. No? As a sensible person, you need to know, say you have offended the people, you apologize to them, you walk away. You walk away. Recent one, I will Sunak by UK, yeah. Na Ghana ni no far as a finance minister could read budget, you know, a common budget could read yeah, a horns and something as for the woman had to resign. That is leadership. And they do this because Ufris are willing to about resigning. No, because power is sweet, or be no power, or be to her. But so when you become convinced that you are dealing with an enlightened class of people, they understand whatever you're doing. They are unemotional people. They are very intelligent people. I didn't see one about resigning. By Hano, that is not the case. Because so what does around panel of the SEO Kroma and the Kufuado Baumia government in the past 7-8 years in the year. Na Baumia betimenya courage, Abijana Ghana for him say, or Montuabaman or non so per se, young first year and manner. Sometimes you want to give up. Sometimes you just want to give up and say, damn na yebo anasa saying. Like how? We don't have sense of shame, no sense of responsibility. No sense of responsibility. that when things happen, we cannot realize on our own and say, hey, Charlie, my main fan to no be mra. It's very, 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 very. And we cannot sit here and blame Obi. Because we are the very people who root for these things, because we are emotionally attached to to institutions, to political parties. And I don't know, Nyakwana still, but we begin say, yeah, set here, say we are the sentinels of our democracy. It is our job as young people to protect the infrastructure of liberty by protecting the very foundations of our democracy, by ensuring, say, yeah, the 2 million we are then you will give it to human being, but we have to give it to them. Abra ye check, hoping, say, they will do the right thing. Because my culture says leadership is a human institution, whichever way you might want to do it. People left on their own, they will do things that shock you. That is why I keep telling people, say, if you want to know who you are, when you go to your room, now the things that you do when you are alone, that is who you really are, not when you are in public. So you know very well, say, on our own, we are very dangerous people. That is who we are. So we must always and always make sure, say, there are rules of engagement. There are somebody out there that is checking. You put to a certain check be on us. And a bit me control yen. And so would it to me ma obina sa or your ma ba or your wound me crowd. You should be ready to hold that person accountable. Because power corrupt. Power corrupt. And that is the way of protecting our democracy. If we don't do that and we become very partisanly emotional, oh, maybe Hannah may want to know if the thing is wrong or cry your support here. And then they give birth to the situation we find ourselves in now. Nipan at the point I want mess it. Nipan at the point I want mess it up crana. As or give you up no. The person will not. The person will not. Thinking say, oh na, oh no, we nim yansa. Oh, wenum dear. And it's the reason why constantly, problems na yam fix it. Because my culture say, Nyankopon is not coming to fix a problem for us. So what one as I be in the wood, to my number can check. Our duty, our sacred duty to ensure, say, you bet meeting she said and dear Maku Kwemo. But fortunately for us, a dear Bena or mine be here, dear ye yabi. You're winning in Abby. But we are not ready. Anna, society, but I cancer society, only nyansa. Society are only ready to think. Society are only lazy-minded society, Always they apportion blames. Unexplained circumstances and phenomenon. Or before na and this is things as you take na yan kasa ya research into learn to unearth near my womb in our development, nyame. The very moment you attribute something to God, it means that you've given up. Because unexplained circumstances he put to the doors of God. No, when you begin to blame others for your woes, especially if you are not before the very moment you set your mind say before na what end you will never move on. So we need to take responsibility and say, this is my life and this is our land, this is our homeland. You cannot run away for few misguided, twisted mind be to come and take over now a mono to flourish. Na ono to go where? This is our country. We all have equal stake in this Ghana. The fact that Akufo-Addo is president today, ne wafasi ene na no mo twa ne ho ahia o mo dinsem hunu di o man no di sabiam krasesem no doesn't mean say the country belongs to him. No. Now Rollins a crash for mo hwehwe na wu no. Kwame Nkrumah na na ni ye den o hwehwe na wu na ene. Ghana is going to be here. And be a contribution when the time comes, we all live and go. But the legacy, as you live, said, we change the story. Because so China about 20 years ago, 1980 upcoming, those who led the revolution in China, the economic revolution in China enjoy. And then every one of them can be proud and say, yes, I was part of this change. They started by investing in people education. Chinese government at some point in time was shipping scholars to America, to big universities in America. They are very expensive, but they felt said, no, we need to go and acquire knowledge. So some of the big universities are for certain class, a whole lot more sponsor some of their people to go. You go back to China, and today they have a mindset of recreating a new version of America. And look at the industries, look at the technological advances, look at where they've been able to position themselves. And the railway in China, and the whole world rail network, they are leading, sourcing technology from several places, and they've been able to train their own people to a point they can say we are leaving this drive. Because when they started, people had doubt, because you see, when it comes to communism, a extreme form of socialism, the state must own everything, people thought it was almost impossible for China to pull that particular thing off, because it has never happened before. But here we are today. You might have your own thing about communism, socialism, and those kind of way, but the fact is they've been able to deliver success to their people. There has been a rapid economic transformation. People call it the Chinese miracle. Is there ever going to be a time where we can sit here and say, Ghana, so yet me leverage a tabi into the talent in young people? Can we? It's not as if the people don't have talent. A man for one kasa, a man for what? And there are several enterprises I bet me at with a proper plan. But catch us say, Yamfa football kwan kasensi and this say in the next 10 years, we are making sure say we are producing top-notch, world-class players. I will chroma say. Now you intensively, government put to scouts. Now you invest sika. But I'm say you niminyan sentino. Nemana ye no cry and ho hwekwanya sika dodo akufo ado aban time ya ODC AstroTurf e wo kromas e wo villages na nwura mo. AstroTurf. Enne so obi a was study sports bia no, you know say you can picture AstroTurf atwam. E outmoded. So ask yourself say there be na motivation e be ma aban technology anasa ade a atwam. Our countries leave behind, and now more years are trying to go hybrid. Technology, why are we investing so much money building them and nobody's questioning anybody?